The widow of Nain knew sorrow. She'd already said goodbye to her husband, her partner in life. Now she faced a pain she never imagined, a pain that cut to her very core. Her son, her only child, was gone. He had been her reason to rise each morning, her source of joy in the face of adversity. With her husband gone, her son was her world, a bright light in the encroaching darkness. Now even that light had been extinguished. The weight of her grief was unbearable. Friends and neighbors offered kind words and warm embraces, but their comfort felt fleeting. How could words ever fill the emptiness that now consumed her? Her heart was broken, her spirit crushed. The circumstances surrounding her son's death remained a mystery. He had been healthy one day, vibrant and full of life, and then suddenly he was gone. The fever had come swiftly, raging through his body like a wildfire. Physicians were consulted, remedies were attempted, but nothing could halt the relentless advance of the illness. The widow had watched helplessly as her son, her precious boy, slipped further and further away. Each labored breath, each moment etched in her memory served as a cruel reminder of her impending loss. Even in the face of such despair, a mother's heart clings to hope, but this time hope seemed like a distant star, flickering faintly in a vast and empty sky. The town of Nain, too, felt the weight of this tragedy. The young man had been a beloved member of their community, known for his kindness, his gentle spirit, and his willingness to lend a helping hand. His passing left a void that would be difficult, if not impossible, to fill. Word of the young man's death spread quickly through the narrow streets of Nain. Neighbors whispered condolences to one another, their faces etched with sadness and concern for the grieving widow. How much could one woman endure? The next day, the town prepared for a somber procession. The young man's body, wrapped in linen, was carried on a bier towards the burial grounds outside the city walls. Mourners, their faces etched with sorrow, followed slowly behind, their hushed whispers a testament to the shared grief that enveloped them. Leading the procession, her face veiled and her body racked with sobs, walked the widow. Each step she took towards the burial ground seemed to amplify her pain, her loss. The outpouring of support from the townspeople offered a small measure of comfort, a reminder that even in her darkest hour she was not alone. As the funeral procession approached the city gate, a murmur rippled through the crowd. Someone was approaching from the opposite direction, someone whose arrival seemed to shift the very air around them. The mourners, their attention drawn to this newcomer, parted slightly, creating a pathway through their midst. Walking towards them, accompanied by a group of disciples, was Jesus of Nazareth. His reputation as a healer and a teacher had spread throughout the region, and whispers of his miracles had reached even the furthest corners of Galilee. The widow, lost in her grief, barely registered the commotion. Her world had shrunk to the size of her sorrow, and nothing, not even the arrival of this renowned teacher, could penetrate the depths of her despair. She continued to walk, her body heavy with grief, her steps carrying her inexorably towards the finality of the tomb. Jesus, seeing the funeral procession and sensing the overwhelming grief that permeated the air, paused. His gaze fell upon the widow, her body racked with sobs, her face a mask of despair. In that instant he was overcome with compassion. He had witnessed death before, had seen firsthand the pain and suffering it inflicted upon humanity, but something about this particular scene, the raw anguish of this woman who had already lost so much, touched him deeply. "Do not weep," he said softly, his voice a beacon of comfort in the midst of their collective sorrow. The mourners, startled by his words and the unexpected tenderness in his voice, turned to look at him. The widow, however, didn't seem to hear. Lost in her grief, she continued to walk, unaware of the one who stood before her, the one who held the power to mend her broken heart. Section 6. The breath of life restored. Jesus, undeterred by the widow's silence, stepped forward. Gently he placed his hand upon the bier, halting the procession. The mourners gasped, their eyes wide with surprise. Who was this man, they whispered amongst themselves, who dared to interrupt the sacred rites of death? Turning to the young man lying upon the bier, Jesus spoke once more, his voice filled with quiet authority. "Young man," he commanded, "I say to you, arise." At that moment, something extraordinary occurred. The young man, his eyes still closed, drew a deep breath, the first in what seemed like an eternity. His chest, moments ago still and lifeless, rose with the intake of air. Color returned to his face, and his eyelids fluttered open, revealing eyes that shone with newfound life. Section 7. A miracle witnessed by all. The crowd, witnessing this impossible display, erupted in a cacophony of gasps and murmurs. Some stumbled backward, their faces etched with fear and disbelief. Others fell to their knees, their voices raised in praise and wonder. The widow, startled by the sudden commotion, looked up. Her eyes, clouded with grief only moments ago, widened as they fell upon her son, sitting up on the bier, very much alive. "My son!" she cried out, her voice filled with a mixture of disbelief and overwhelming joy. She rushed to his side, embracing him tightly, afraid that if she let go, he would vanish like a morning mist. Jesus, his face filled with compassion, watched as mother and son reunited, their bond forged anew in the crucible of death and resurrection. He had given them a miracle, a gift that transcended the boundaries of human understanding, but more importantly, he had given them hope, a hope that extended far beyond the confines of this earthly life. Section 8. The Power of Faith. The story of the widow of Nain stands as a testament to the boundless power of faith. It reminds us that even in the darkest of times, when all hope seems lost, there is a force greater than ourselves capable of performing miracles. It speaks to the unwavering compassion of Jesus, who, moved by the widow's profound grief, reached out and offered her not just comfort, but the impossible gift of her son's life returned. This miracle, witnessed by the people of Nain, serves as a beacon of hope for us all. It reminds us that we serve a God who is not distant or indifferent to our suffering. He is a God who weeps with those who weep, who rejoices with those who rejoice, and who, in his infinite mercy, can bring life from death, hope from despair. The widow of Nain teaches us that even in the face of insurmountable odds, faith can move mountains. Her story encourages us to hold on to hope, even when it seems like all is lost, and to trust in the one who holds the power to make all things new. Section 9. A message of hope and renewal. The miracle at Nain is not just a story from the distant past, it is a living testament to the transformative power of faith. It is a reminder that even in our darkest hours, when grief threatens to consume us, there is hope. There is a God who sees our pain, who hears our cries, and who, in ways we may never fully understand, can bring beauty from ashes and joy from sorrow. Let the story of the widow of Nain fill you with hope, strengthen your faith, and inspire you to trust in the boundless love and mercy of God. No matter what challenges you face, no matter how overwhelming your grief may seem, know that you are not alone. Jesus stands ready to meet you in your hour of need, to offer comfort, to extend his hand of grace, and to whisper words of hope and renewal into your weary heart. Remember, even in the darkest of nights, the dawn will come, and with it, the promise of a new day, a new beginning, and a love that knows no bounds. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and he will direct your path.